Beneath Tokyo Bay, engineers are building a $500 billion secret, a series of artificial islands designed not for expansion, but for survival, using technology so advanced it could rewrite how civilizations defend against nature's fury. This is not a story of conquering the sea, but of surrendering to it, of learning to bend, not break. It is a project born from a nation's deepest trauma, and it represents the most radical reimagining of coastal defense in human history. The goal is audacious: to survive a tsunami that hasn't even happened yet, a wave that exists only in supercomputer models and the scarred memory of the land itself. This is the confrontation between a hyper-advanced society and the primal force of a moving ocean, and the weapon of choice is an island. Our story begins not with blueprints, but with ruins. March 11, 2011. The Pacific Ocean floor ruptures. The Tohoku earthquake, one of the most powerful ever recorded, unleashes a wall of water that reaches heights of over 130 feet. It swallows towns whole. It overruns seawalls deemed impenetrable. It triggers a meltdown at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant. In minutes, decades of engineering confidence are washed away. Nearly 20,000 lives are lost. The cost is incalculable. For Japan, this was more than a disaster. It was a revelation, a brutal lesson that their entire strategy was fundamentally, catastrophically wrong. They had built walls to stop the ocean. The ocean simply went over them. In the silent aftermath, a single haunting question emerged. If you can't stop the wave, what can you do? Act 2 plunges us into the depths of the confrontation. The initial concept seems elegant. Breakwaters are nothing new, but these are different. These are energy dissipation islands. Each one is a precisely calculated geometric puzzle. Some are V-shaped, designed to split the tsunami's force, channeling it into chaotic cross-currents that cancel each other out. Others are layered with terraced slopes and porous reefs, creating friction to bleed the wave's speed mile by mile. Supercomputer simulations run for years, modeling thousands of wave patterns, testing countless island configurations. The goal is to reduce a 30-foot tsunami at the bay entrance to a manageable, survivable surge by the time it reaches the ports of Tokyo and Yokohama. It is coastal defense reimagined as a martial art, using the enemy's own strength against it. But then, the complications arise. The first twist is not scientific, but historical. As engineers drill core samples into the bay floor, they make a startling discovery. The sediment layers tell a story of cataclysm. They reveal evidence of prehistoric tsunamis far larger than 2011's, a cycle of devastation stretching back millennia. The Jogan tsunami of 869 AD, long thought a legend, is confirmed in the mud. Its wave was possibly 50% larger. The project's baseline suddenly changes. They are no longer designing for the last disaster, but for a disaster that recurs every 1,000 years, and one that is overdue. The scale of everything must be recalibrated. The islands grow larger, their placements more aggressive. The $500 billion estimate begins to look conservative. The second complication is the ground itself. Tokyo Bay sits on soft, liquefiable soil. Building monumental structures here is like trying to erect a skyscraper on jelly. The engineering solution is as breathtaking as the islands themselves. Engineers propose using a technology never deployed on this scale: deep soil mixing. Imagine a fleet of robotic drills injecting a cement-like grout thousands of feet down, column by column, to create a subterranean forest of pillars. This artificial bedrock would anchor the islands against not just the wave, but the earthquake that precedes it. It is a foundational megaproject hidden beneath a megaproject, a secret fortress built in the mud to hold up the decoy islands above. Then comes the highest point of tension. The most shocking revelation isn't about engineering, but about time. The project's lifespan is designed for 100 years, but the geological record screams of 1,000-year cycles, and climate change introduces a terrifying variable: rising sea levels. A higher ocean means tsunamis start from a higher launch point, gaining more power, reaching further inland. The sophisticated models begin to fray at the edges. Some critics, a minority but vocal, whisper a terrifying possibility. What if the archipelago, for all its genius, creates a false sense of security? What if it encourages even more development in the bay, putting more people in the path of the one wave that finally, inevitably, overmatches the design. The confrontation is no longer just man versus nature. It is the arrogance of present-day solutions versus the relentless patience of deep time. Act 3 brings us to the resolution, the emotional and intellectual climax. The Tokyo Bay archipelago is not a perfect shield. Its architects admit this. It is a calculated gamble, a staggeringly expensive delay tactic. Its true purpose is not to eliminate the tsunami, but to buy the one thing modern Japan needs most: time. Time for the warning systems to blare. Time for the bullet trains to stop. Time for millions of people to move to higher ground. It aims to turn a sudden, apocalyptic event into a managed, if still devastating, emergency. The project is a confession that total control is an illusion. The new philosophy is resilience, not resistance. It is about bending so you don't shatter. So, is this the future? A world where coastlines are dotted with these gentle, intelligent giants? Perhaps. But the resolution carries a profound paradox. This $500 billion secret represents the pinnacle of human ingenuity, a fusion of geology, fluid dynamics, and material science that borders on science fiction. Yet, it is ultimately an act of humility. It is a civilization learning to dance with a force it can never truly defeat. The islands, when and if they are built, will stand as silent guardians. They will be monuments to the 2011 dead and to the future generations they are meant to protect. They represent a hard-earned wisdom that survival sometimes means building not a stronger wall, but a smarter path for the flood. The final haunting truth is this: the greatest mega-project in Japan's history isn't really about concrete or supercomputers. It's about memory. It's an attempt to make the land itself remember, so that the people never have to forget. And somewhere, deep beneath the future bay, the next wave is already gathering, waiting to test whether that memory is strong enough.